So, uh, let me show you first the theoretical foundations that could serve as the backbone of our discussion in harmonizing the training sessions that we have. First, from cognitive psychology, we have the dual coding theory, which states that information is processed through both verbal and visual systems. Now, for our teachers, when we design the training in the school, we have to make sure that we address the verbal and visual systems of the brain that need to be stimulated for our teachers to gain knowledge and for them to be able to apply these learnings in their classroom teaching. We should also be able to activate their schema so that in the duration of the training, they could relate the new things that they learned from the training to their past experiences, to their past learnings, which could serve as the support system for them to learn more and to develop more. Now, let's move to the next theories. Under educational theory, we have the constructivist theory by Jean Piaget and Lev Vygotsky. According to Lev Vygotsky, learners construct their understanding and knowledge of world through experiences. So, even after the training, we should be able to provide the learners, which is our teachers, we should be able to provide them with experiences that could help them learn more about the curriculum. So, the training does not end in the 5-day engagement program. It should go on until the teachers have mastered the delivery of the curriculum. And that is supported by meaningful learning theory by David Osfeld. Learners understand and retain new information better when it is related to what they already know. And that is why it is very important to develop their schema, as stated in the schema theory a while ago. Let's move on to the next theories. The instructional design. Under the instructional design, we have the instructional scaffolding, which also advocates providing knowledge based on what they already know and then making it more complex from time to time. And that is why we start with we always start with the policy, and after talking about the policy, the shaping paper, and then the IDF, before we moved on to the walkthrough of the curriculum. And we also have the spiral curriculum where Jerome Bruner advocated for the concepts to be revisited and expanded upon over time. So, you will notice in the training program, we discussed first the IDF, because the IDF will be used over and over during the proceeding sessions within the training, because for the pedagogy, for the assessment, those things will be affected and will be influenced by the IDF that we are also advocating in the Department of Education. So let's move on to the next one. And according to educational research and practice, research shows that integrating knowledge across disciplines helps students make connections between different areas of study. And that is why we have the collaborative expertise. Now, as school heads, I know that you already know that there are teachers who do team teaching, team production of learning materials, but we cannot do away with collaborative expertise, because during collaborative expertise, the teachers could talk about where they are already, and then they could talk about how they can harmonize the the lessons. If one lesson could be related to the other to another subject for that particular day, it would help the learners, the students, retain more knowledge and see the connection of what they're learning in real life. Now, for curriculum design, studies on curriculum design emphasize the importance of thematic and coherent structuring to enhance learning outcomes. So it is better for the learners if they can see how their learning applies in real life. And that also applies with our teachers. If the teachers can see how one lesson in English enhances the learnings that the students can have in science and in math, then we could create a community in the school where students and teachers have the learning experiences that would give the learners the opportunity to see how everything works together. And there would be more learning in that case. So next po tayo. So, if you would ask me, after attending the training, this orientation, how would I present the training in my school? So, let me first present to you the profile of the school for grade 2, 3, and 5. By next year, I will have 346 pupils for grade 2. With 10 teachers. For grade 3, I would have 396 pupils with 10 teachers. And for grade 5, I'd have 392 pupils with only 8 teachers. For grade 2, I have 10 classes. Grade 3, 10 classes. And grade 5, I would have only 8 classes. All those 8 teachers will be advisors. Now, you would notice that since I have 8 teachers in grade 5, I would have 1 teacher per subject. But we all know that in grade 5, teachers do not teach only one subject. There are times when a teacher teaches English, math, science, or and the other one would teach Filipino, AP, ESP. So how would I do the training in the school? So this will be the setup. Teachers of grades 2 and 3 will attend the school-based training under one facilitator for 5 days. That would mean there's one facilitator for grade 2, one facilitator for grade 3. However, the grade 5 teachers will attend the training together with other schools in the cluster or district. It's possible that if I would be given the slot for the training of trainers, one of the trainers for grade 5 will be from my school, and then we would merge with other schools. So each of the 8 teachers will attend a certain subject area for the 5 days training. But after the 5 days training, the following week, there would be 2 days allotted for the other teachers who were not able to attend the subject that they are supposed to teach. So we can see here in the training matrix, for the first day, you see there the different colors, blue, peach, green, and then purple. Those are different topics. The bulk of the training would be for session 5, which is understanding the curriculum, pedagogy, assessment, and learning resources from quarters 1 to 4. And then there would be another common topic on day 4 and day 5. So let's look at that closer. Let's look at the next slide. So we can see here, Session 1, Policy and Guidelines, Session 2, General Shape, Session 3, Overview, and walkthrough of the shaping paper by the afternoon. And then on the first day, we would start trying to understand the curriculum. We'll start the walkthrough of the curriculum for quarter 1. And then for the day 2 to day 3, day 2 to day 3, we would present to the teachers quarters 2 to 4. But in the presentation of those quarters, we would guide them in the presentation of the curriculum. They would talk about how they can unpack the competencies, how can they do the assessment. In a way, we are already showing them we're already helping them to plan how they will teach the subject for the whole school year. And that is why in day 4, by session 6, we would have a sample of how they will do collaborative expertise. They will, as a group, work on a lesson plan. And then by session 7, classroom observation, we'll talk to them how they would be observed and how classroom observation is different in the Matatag context. And how in the Matatag context, the classroom observation should not be seen as a threat, but instead it should be seen as something that would help the development of every teacher to become a better professional. So by the afternoon of day 5, after the critiquing of the lesson plans that they worked on the previous day, they will have time to refine the lesson plan, prepare the instructional materials. Then there would be a selection. Which of those lesson plans would be chosen for a simulation exercise? After that, there would be clearing house and closing program. But that is just the first leg of the training. As I've said, the following week, there would be 2 days allotted for every subject for grade 5. So day 6 and 7, there would be one subject that the grade 5 teachers will attend. So let's say I attended English for the first week. So the following week, day 6 and day 7, I may attend the training for math because I would teach English, math, and science. And by day 8 and day 9, I would attend science. During this time, there would also be breakaway sessions that would teach the teachers other subjects. So before the start of classes, every teacher would have attended the training program for the subjects that they will teach. Because this has been an eye-opener for me. After the previous training, my PSDS asked me, "Hey Chris, paano yung hindi naka-attend ng science? English lang na-attendan niya." It took 4 weeks for them to undergo the training. So 4 weeks nagtuturo siya ng science na hindi niya master yung curriculum. So this time, I want to solve that problem. So before the start of classes, dapat maka-undergo na sila ng training para sa subject nila. And you will notice in the matrix that I prepared for session 5, session day 9, So this would be true for day 7 and day 9. Yung 10:30, no, not 10:30, the 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, presentation of learning plans na yon and critiquing and refinement. Pagkatapos, 3:30 to 5, may simulation pa rin. So hindi siya matatapos ng walang simulation. Hindi siya matatapos ng walang simulation. May sample pa rin para magkaroon tayo ng strong grasp kung paano ituturo yung lesson. And during the critiquing, papasok lagi yung IDF. Yung meron bang connection, context, collaboration, and creativity. Meron ba siyang, is the lesson innovative? Is it integrative, inclusive, and ideational? Does the lesson engage the learners? Does it allow them to explore? Does it enrich their experience? And does it teach them how to empathize? Yan po, dapat present yan dun sa observation, dun sa critiquing ng mga lesson plans. So, in the light of the paradigm that we are following now, after the engagement, it's important that we have practice and consolidation. So practice, that's application in real life. Because we know theoretical knowledge is useless if not applied well in real life situations. Eh, paano po ba magagawa ang practice? Diyan na po papasok ang actual observation ng principal, ng master teachers, and magkakaroon ng mga focus group discussions, ng collaborative expertise sessions, LAC sessions, etc. After that, after a few months, doon na papasok ang consolidation. There would be a gathering of data from all those activities, and after the gathering of data, the instructional leaders can decide which type of instructional supervision to use and what other resources to mobilize for the improvement of teachers. So, tamang-tama, by October, December, planning na yan ng MOE. Pag nakita niya kailangan pa ng training, pwedeng mag-set ng additional budget ang principal para sa additional training ng teachers. So bakit nga ba natin ginagawa yung ating paradigm na engage, practice, consolidation? It's supported by the Kirkpatrick Training Evaluation Model. Sige po, natin. The Kirkpatrick Training Evaluation Model, which states that yung reaction nila sa simula, okay yan. Diba? Kung masaya nilang tinanggap, pero it's not enough that they agreed and they learned, they passed the post test. It's not enough. Kung natatandaan niyo yung the parable of the seeds, merong tinanggap ng masaya eh. Pero pagkatapos tanggapin ng masaya, dahil may mga napunta sa batuhan, madali silang natuyo. Walang nag-alaga eh. And then, yung napunta sa dawagan, ano po nangyari? Dahil maraming problema, namatay din. So, ano po gusto natin mangyari? We have to create the school, the environment of the school, similar to those who were sown in the rich soil. So that learning can take place through continuous observation, continuous collaborative expertise, continuous focus group discussions, so that we can also change the behavior of teachers, so that they can change the past behaviors that they have changed already. Then and only then can we see the real results of the curriculum. Kasi hindi naman siya overnight talaga mababago. It would take time. Bukod po dyan, let's look at the 70-20-10 training model. We can see here, madalas na nating marinig to, teach me and I forget, di ba? Show me and I remember, but involve me and I will learn. Dun sa training ng 5 days, kahit pa 9 days yan, 10% lang yan ang kailangan nating gawin. What we have to do more is for them to engage in professional conversations with each other. And then for them to apply what they learned in real life. Yun lang ang paraan. Kaya hindi po pwede na matatapos lang sa training. Kaya talagang may gagawin at may gagawin na work application plan. Para makita anong type ng supervision ang gagawin ng principal. Ano-ano nga pa ba yung types of supervision na pwede natin gawin? Meron tayong tinatawag na developmental supervision. Yan yung tinitignan muna natin sila. And then clinical supervision. And then may differentiated supervision. This would be later on discussed kung ano-ano yung mga klase ng instructional supervision. But for now, I'd like to present to you a sample workplace application plan na pwede natin gawin sa school natin. So you can see there, that's my name. And the title of our PD program na inatenan natin ngayon, Orientation of School Leaders on Instructional Leadership Program Management. Yan. Ang PD provider po natin, National Educators Academy of the Philippines. Ang PSDS ko nga pala po, si Ma'am Diana Marie B. Dagli. So, ano po ang next part ng WAP na yan? Ano po ang mga intervention na gagamitin? Ito po muna ang background and rationale of the WAP. So, the aim of this WAP is to provide learning application by providing targeted technical assistance and instructional support to grades 2, 3, and 5 teachers in addressing the gaps in the delivery of the revised K-12 curriculum. Now, as the school head, I shall apply the concepts and skills during the engaged phase of the training program, strengthening technical supervision and support, as well as monitoring and evaluation, ultimately providing teachers' performance and learning outcomes. So what is the expected performance improvement? Ano-ano po ba yung competencies for development na dapat kong i-address? First, the school-based review on sexualization of learning standards in the K-12 curriculum, teaching standards and pedagogies, teacher performance feedback, and learning assessment. Under yan ng Domain 2, focused on teaching and learning. What is the expected improvement in performance indicator? Of course, there should be improved provision of instructional leadership towards improving competence among teachers and outcomes among learners. There should be an exhibition of advanced skills in providing technical assistance and instructional leadership on providing teacher performance. Analyzed and utilized learning outcome results for inform instructional decisions. Means of verification po natin, yung PMCF, COT, yung mga plans and implementation of LAC, CE sessions, pati po na rin ang ating inset. So, meron din tayong personal and professional development, professional reflection and learning, performance management, professional development, rewards and recognition mechanism. Yan naman po under developing self and others. Ano ang makikita naman sa akin? I would have nurtured myself and others, ensuring people and team effectiveness. Tandaan po natin, bilang school heads, bilang school leaders, we should also nurture ourselves. So yung mga program natin, habang inaalagaan natin yung teachers natin at yung mga bata, dapat kasama rin po na nag-grow tayo bilang mga tao. Naaalagaan din natin ang sarili natin. Reflected on personal and professional development, enhancing practice in leading and developing people. Supported teachers' development and welfare by providing means of development, opportunities to learn, reflect, lead, and progress in their profession. Kaya napakahalaga po niyan kasi babudgetan natin yan sa MOE. Ano po ang mga yung plans and implementation?
Gani.
So ano po ang mga intervention na pwede natin gawin? Makikita niyo po dyan, ang may check ay yung formal and informal job-embedded learning activities, tsaka yung implementation ng WAP. Now, for you, kung may makikita po kayo na job expansion, job rotation, stretch assignments, special project, job shadowing, okay lang po na gawin ninyo yun. Kasi pwede natin gawin yung job shadowing kapag meron tayong mga teachers na kailangan talagang i-coaching. Yung job expansion, sabi nga po sa NEA, kapag ikaw ay nagtrabaho ng mahusay, what is your reward? You'll be given more job. So, paano po natin gagawin tong formal and informal JEL activities sa Black? So, yan po yung kasunod na part ng WAP. Yung job-embedded activities include the actual performance and functions of school leaders in schools, applying the principles and concepts and approaches in implementing the K-12 curriculum. School leaders are expected to enhance and improve teachers' performance through provision of instructional supervision and technical assistance. And then, yung learning action cells, collaborative expertise, etc. Next na po tayo. Ano po kasunod na part niyan? The actual activities po ng WAP. Yan, ito na po ang objective po natin through the WAP. The school head will be able to provide quality instructional supervision and assistance among K-3 learners in improving and strengthening instructional practices in the delivery of the K-12 curriculum. So, paano nga po yan gagawin? So, ang learning objective po natin, halimbawa, number 1, learning objective is identify the professional needs of the teachers. To do that, there would be a conduct of school-based assessment needs on professional development related to the revised K-12 curriculum training. Gagawin po yan ng June. And I may need the help of my PSDS later. Kaya nilagay ko po dyan na ang pwedeng maging learning facilitator ko ay EPS or the PSDS. Bakit may EPS? Kasi pwedeng yung subject specific yung kailanganin ko na technical assistance. Another learning objective, provide instructional supervision and technical assistance to teachers in the revised curriculum delivery. Ano po activities niyan? Submission of instructional supervisory plan, provision of instructional supervision to teachers through classroom observation, Black, collaborative expertise, saka inset. So that would happen from June to December. And same, pag kailangan ko ng tulong ng supervisor, I would ask the help of supervisor. Nakikita nyo na po ang support resources na kailangan. Another objective po, drafting of the development plan. So pagkatapos ng dalawang activities na unang nabanggit, the goal is makagawa ko ng development plan for the next school year. Tamang-tama ito kasi by October, November, December, gumagawa tayo ng budget for the next school year. So doon natin makikita ano yung mga kailangan ng teachers na budgetan pa. Kung kulang pa yung kaalaman nila, kulang pa yung skills nila, we can give more budget for further training. At tayo rin bilang school heads, yung budget para tayo din magkaroon tayo ng professional development. Kaya dyan na po pumapasok yung consolidate phase. So gather ng data. By December, kompleto na yung data na kailangan natin para makagawa tayo ng isang magandang program para sa mga teachers. So, like any other project, kailangan po sa bandang huli niyan, meron tayong plan for monitoring and evaluation. So, ano po ang means of verification natin? We have the instructional supervisory plan and report, analysis of quantitative and qualitative data relative to teacher performance and learning outcomes. So pag nag-observe tayo sa kanila, okay ba yung paraan ng pagtuturo? Pero bukod dun sa paraan ng pagtuturo nila, kung humusay talaga sila, it should be evident in the performance of the learners. Dapat tumataas din ang performance ng mga bata. And there should be a monthly review monthly reflection and coaching and mentoring sessions with the EPS and PSDS. So on my part, I would either go to my PSDS for mentoring or I would invite the PSDS kasabay na rin ng SMEA ng school namin. And then there would be an end of WAP assessment or final review of the performance improvement of learning outcomes. So I hope naging ano po ito, no? Nagkaroon tayo ng insights during the discussion. So I'd like to hear your insight naman. So ano po ang na-discover